Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go through and talk about the holdings editor in Evergreen 3.9, which looks a little bit different than the one that we had previously in 3.7. I'm going to pop over to the test server here, just so that as I'm editing items and making changes to things, I'm not messing with anything that is going to impact a library. And then I believe I have a TCN grabbed here. So I'm just picking somewhere to start. In this case, I'm going to start with the DVD version of Shaggy and Scooby-Doo Volume 1, because that's what I happened to have up on my screen before I started this training. So what we're going to be looking at is the holdings editor. So you'll use this when you edit items, and you use it when you create new items. So what I'm going to do is just start right here from add holdings. Now, you'll notice this looks a little bit different, quite a bit different than the way that the editor was set up in 3.7. All the pieces are there, but there is some sort of different style to it, and there are some different display preferences as well. Did someone have a question? I thought I heard. Okay. So the first thing that I want to do is direct everyone's attention to this preferences tab. Most of these are not new. Most of the preferences are not new in 3.9. We had many of these in 3.7. But because we did such a big update from 3.3 to 3.7, it didn't get as much press. So I always like to show this again. The first thing I want to show you in this preferences tab is that you can choose whether you want the holdings and item attributes to be in two separate tabs, or if you want them together. So you'll see as I check and uncheck that box, it's moving these together and separating them. If I have them together, then this is going to give me my holdings information at the top and my item information below that. If I have them separated, it's going to give me a tab for my holdings information and a tab for my item attributes. I think that it kind of depends on how many copies you tend to be working with at a time, the size of your screen, a lot of other things play into those preferences. So the functionality is all the same. It's just another way for you to decide how you want to interact with that workflow. The other thing that we can do that is not new in 3.9, but I think is really useful, is to be able to set some defaults on here about what you see and what you don't see. And so some libraries, many of us don't track what our classification scheme is, but you can set it to Dewey instead of to generic. And you can set, if you use prefixes and suffixes, you can set a default for those as well. The other thing that you can do is you can hide whole pieces of this interface. And so if you're in a library that never uses, we have only a few locations that use the short, normal, long, loan duration, so that they have multiple durations associated with a single policy. And so if you check these boxes, it turns them off. So right now, loan duration is hidden. If I uncheck that box and I go back over here, you'll see loan duration appears here. If I go back in here and I turn it off, it's gone. So what I like for this is that for the majority of our locations, you're setting 3 to 5 of these different variables per item. And so you don't have to see them all the time. Jonathan makes an excellent point about how I was talking about this. It turns the display off, and it turns the display off regardless of what you have it set. So if I were to set a floating group here, and then I turn the display off, then I don't see it, but that value stays set. So from a troubleshooting perspective, it's nice to be able to see everything. But from, I think, an item creation standpoint, it's nice to be able to only view the things that you know you want to be changing on a regular basis. I haven't tested this, but I do believe that if you have something, a value set in a template from one of these, that it will apply even if you don't have it visible. I think the templates work whether or not it's visible. So you just want to be careful. If you're not seeing something, it is possible that you want to make sure that your templates are not including anything that you don't want to have set. So that is the display controls there. The other thing that you may want to choose to do is you can display stat cats from either all of Spark or from your system or from your location. Did we get rid of book drop, Elizabeth? Is that gone on production now?
I think so. Let me double check.
So you'll see, some systems have system level stat cats, sometimes they don't. And we're at a minimum, we're in the process of getting rid of this one Spark wide one, which is a throwback to a really interesting pilot that we did with York County Libraries back in 2015 and 2016. So you can, if you do or don't want to see your system level stat cats, you can change that display. And
it is gone.
Okay, book drop is gone. And then you can also hide items here in your holdings. If you are not a library that uses prefixes, you don't need to view that. So you can make those adjustments as well. If you don't use monograph parts, you can hide that. Two things that I do want to mention while I'm in this screen is templates, or two things about templates that I want to mention while I'm in the screen. You can set templates to apply a set of attributes for a type of item that you add. So you can set that to apply your shelving location, your circ mod, and maybe a stat cat. I've even done if you have a standard price that you put in for donated items, you can add that to the template and then you can apply those all at once. We have had a couple of libraries have issues with when they are using previously created templates after the upgrade. If you had certain things in the template, then it can apply a little bit weird. So if you notice any difficulties with your templates previous to that were working before the upgrade but aren't working now, let us know and we can help you with that. Most of them are fine, but there is a small issue with alert messages if you had an alert message that applied in a template. And I was just telling somebody about this morning. Here's a bug that we're working on fixing. If you go to this, if you access the holdings editor via item status, so you have something open in item status and then you go to edit, it's going to, oh, okay, Elizabeth, it doesn't do it on the test server. So I think that means it was fixed during the maintenance window, right?
Let me check.
Okay. I can do it from check-in. I'll try that one. Okay, well, we'll come back to that after I'm done recording. But you should get this updated screen no matter where you come to the barcode from. Right now, or at least earlier today, on production, if you go through item status, you will still get the old item editor. It still works. It's fine. But this is what we should be getting from all the screens. Yeah. So I'm wondering, Elizabeth, if it was this, I think it's fixed on test. So that means that it would be fixed on production in December.
Yes.
But we'll double check. So yeah, so I'm on test right now, so it's not doing it, but yes, it definitely still does that missed referral on the production server. A couple of notes about how these work. So when you go in and you set things, you can hit apply, or you can do a bunch of them and then hit apply all and save, or apply all, save, and exit, which will dump you back to the screen that you were in previously. You do have to sort of click twice. You can click to open it and then click again to open the drop down. Most of the drop downs, if you start typing, it will go ahead and find that for you. The shelving location one, it doesn't do that right now. It is a bug. It has to do with how it's loading. And so you do have to scroll through those. Which is not my favorite. So we're looking at getting that adjusted. You'll see right now it's showing me, because I'm at Blair County location, Altoona, it's showing me all the Altoona locations, all the Blair County locations, and then it's also showing me LCLS locations because it's owned by LCLS. So you should get all the options that are relevant to both your workstation library and the owning library of the item. Anything else that anyone would like to see in this editor? If you have multiple libraries, you're going to click this button here to add additional owning libraries. If you have additional call numbers, then you click this one here. That's going to give you a new call number, same owning library. And if you have multiple barcodes with the same call number, then you click this one here and it will give you multiple barcodes, same call number. So you can do multiple locations and multiple call numbers at different locations if that's part of your workflow. I know a lot of our libraries, it's only the one location, so you wouldn't typically use this one over here, but you can have either multiple items, same call number, or multiple items, separate call numbers. Okay. I'm going to stop my recording.